Westgate Mall in Pennsylvania is one of the more bizarre malls out there, and its interior feels more like two different malls mashed together. You'll see for yourself as we go for a lap inside. Our history lesson is brought to us with the assistance of a local who goes by the nickname Gonton. Westgate Mall originally started out as a simple strip mall known as the Westgate Shopping Center, with its roots traced back to the 60s, anchored by a humble thrift drug and George's IGA. In 1971, however, the center would gain Hess's department store, which would opt to build a freestanding store north of the center proper. The developer at the time, Harold S. Campbell, coordinated with the department store and would build an enclosed mall corridor between George's IGA and Hess's. With completion in 1973, this would lead to an early version of the mall as we know it today, with a front-facing corridor on the southern half of the center before wrapping around the grocery store and becoming a traditional mall corridor. During this construction, McCrory's would also open a store in the mall. A major bump in the road for the mall would happen in 1977, which came in the form of a major fire that burned down a large portion of the mall near Hess's. This was devastating for the mall and was considered one of the worst fires in Bethlehem history. Despite this, reconstruction efforts were launched and the mall was able to resume operations almost like nothing happened. Enter the 90s, and George's IGA would convert over to a King's IGA. This acquisition would only last a few years before the IGA was bought out again to be converted into Weis Markets in 1994. To this day, Westgate Mall remains as one of the only malls in the nation with a grocery store. That same year in 1994, Hess's would get bought out by Bon-Ton. Meanwhile, McCrory's would be converted to J.J. Newberry's, although the year this happened was not specified. By the turn of the century, Newberry's would then convert to become Dollar Zone, which lasted for a whole 1 year before McCrory's total demise in 2001. This space would become home to the dollar store concepts before being left entirely vacant for the better part of a decade. The mall remained within the Campbell family's ownership for much of the mall's life, despite efforts from middle management to try and seize ownership when Harold's health was declining in his final years. Eventually, the mall would be sold in 2013, and the Campbell family would hand the keys over to a developer named Mark Pepitone. After acquiring ownership of the property Bon-Ton sat on, he would then proceed onward with a $5 million renovation to revitalize the mall, which was ailing at the time. This brought us the Sky Zone trampoline park, which would fill in the long vacant space left behind by McCrory's. This massive center, however, would cannibalize other tenant spaces as well as part of the mall corridor, which is why we have that one awkward, janky corridor. Unfortunately, these renovations also called for the removal of the front-facing corridor, and within the next few moments you can see signs of where this removal stalled out, leaving 2/3 of the corridor for us to admire. This would leave Rite Aid as an outward-facing store, of which had come to replace Thrift Drug long ago. Regardless, as the mall continued to fade away, Pepitone would be forced to sell the mall in 2019. Onyx Equities would then purchase the mall, forking over a whopping $30 million for it. As a side note, I am not entirely sure what is up these steps. My guess would either be a community room or offices for the mall itself. I got about 2/3 of the way up before I decided against going in on anything taking place up there. Onyx has been quiet about their plans for the mall. However, the plan to remove the front corridor is still on the table. And while Bonton has been long gone, Wise Markets plans to relocate into the Bonton space and utilize it as its new home. Whatever may happen in the future, it seems we still have more to see in Westgate Mall's story. Yeah, I couldn't resist fiddling a little bit with some of the things in this mall. I enjoyed trotting about through this mall, and I find it kinda cute in a way. You have so many funky bends and turns in the corridor, and the southern half of the mall has so many quirky storefronts. It gets your mind going about some of these places from time to time. What were all those inlines in long ago? And with Wise moving to the northern end, what is to come for the space it leaves behind? Oh, and in case you're wondering, no, there's no dial tone on this payphone. A shame. Alright. Here we are about to enter into the northern half, and let me ask, does this feel like two different malls mashed together for you? It does to me. This is probably the first mall I've seen with a split personality, and both of them are kinda neat in their own rights. Unfortunately, one of them is about to be lobotomized and get reformed into a boring outdoor strip mall. But I'm at least glad that I got to see it before that happened. That is why we do this. On the upside though, we still get this half of the mall for now, which still has its own quirks. Those railings in the center of the mall look like they're straight out of an album cover for Macintosh Plus. And the fake skylights are a neat touch too. Not the greatest, but adds some extra pizzazz to the mall. Despite it being a wet and gloomy evening outside, I had a blast covering this mall and would certainly recommend a visit if you're in the area. Westgate Pizza is also pretty good too. They don't pay me to say good things about them. I'll tell you when it's a good pizza. And as we make our way back towards the side door by Bonton, I have to ask you, what did you think of this mall? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you have anything to say about this mall's split personality? Share your thoughts down below in the comments, and we can get a discussion going on this place. It's good to have some different opinions on this place. And we can discuss what the future may hold for the Westgate Mall as well. Although this is 2019 footage, it doesn't seem like 2020 was able to stop this mall just yet. It is still open, for now at least. And back out into the cold and rain we go. Thank you for having me, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Westgate Mall. Farewell, and good luck in this uncertain future.